Well, Trossard and Martinelli magic has been approved by Mikel Arteta and has gone ahead to give it a go to see to it that it leads him to winning his first Premier League trophy at Arsenal. Remember, Mikel Arteta has so far bagged 2 trophies for Arsenal, the FA Cup in the year of 2020 and the Community Shield, obviously at the beginning of the season of 2020-2021. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. We are talking Bukayo Saka, also Mikel Arteta, talking about his link-up play with Zinchenko and the title hopes of Arsenal as they are 5 points clear ahead of Man City, a team that he was managing as an assistant alongside Pep Guardiola from 2016 to 2020. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified every time we upload a video onto our YouTube channel. Now, yesterday Arsenal won by 4-0. They are 5 points clear ahead of City. And City is playing Newcastle over the weekend, and Arsenal is playing Bournemouth. Remember, City are the ones that really play first, then Arsenal are going to play later. But all in all, it is a game of football that Arsenal are really going to be looking at, especially fans, because Newcastle, after losing to Manchester United, they're out of the FA Cup. They're only left with one competition to fight for. They are fighting for the 4th place to qualify for the Champions League. Reason being, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, then they won't be able to spend a lot of money as Champions League gates in more and more and more money, so to it that they really spend more of that. Now, let's talk about Martinelli and Trossard. This is what Mikel Arteta had to say about these two players. One is 28, the other one is 21, 22 years of age. That is Martinelli. Now, he talked about the understanding between the two. He said, I think relationships are built in teams and the chemistry comes naturally. And when you see him play with Fabio more together, he has even more chemistry because they love each other so much. He said, and they have that way of looking at each other and understanding what's going to have. He's also building that with Leandro Trossard and is feeling a little bit more freedom to move into certain areas. And now his confidence is high again. He's scoring goals, he's assisting goals, and is in a good mood. That is what Mikel Arteta talked about Martinelli, Fabio Vieira, and which guy? And Trossard. Now, I was one of the people who stood here and called for the following changes to be made. 1, Martinelli needed to be dropped, and he did it. When he came on the game of Aston Villa, he scored. Then in the game of Leicester City, he started them together. He started Trossard and Martinelli together, and they combined for that only goal that saw a team called Arsenal win. Yesterday, that movement of Martinelli and Trossard, you get the mobility. Martinelli going to the left, Trossard playing centrally, then they interchange. Those interchanges really made Martinelli score 2 goals yesterday. He's a very, very good player, Martinelli, and I think no one is not doubting his talent. He's one of the best talents I've seen at Arsenal from the academy and is doing wonders at Arsenal. But the coming in of Trossard really gives him a little bit of another side of really raising from the fallen down form after the World Cup. Jesus is the factor, we all know that, as Jesus was so much having a link-up play and understanding with Martinelli on several occasions. But when Jesus found himself injured, Martinelli dipped down in form. We all know that. But Trossard has gone ahead to come in through and resurrect a player known as Gabriel Martinelli, and they are really looking great. They are playing some good football that you had not seen before at Arsenal. That possession that Arsenal is having, yesterday they had a possession of 83%. When they are playing Leicester City, they had close to 81%. Against Aston Villa, they had close to 70-80% possession. So the introduction of Jorginho and Trossard has taken Arsenal's ball possession levels to another higher mark that no one even thought they could reach. They are really one of the best possessing football sides in the league, and these players are really great. When you look at Trossard, he's not selfish. You get that assist that he gets yesterday for the Odegaard goal. He reaches in an area, he reads a run of Odegaard, puts in a cutback, and it's a goal. Imagine Martinelli, Trossard, Bukayo Saka leading the line for Arsenal in that game that they lost 3-1 to Man City. I think Man City would have been dead because the mobility of Martinelli and Trossard is really out of this world. It's the same like that of Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. And the old man out, I'm sorry to say, is Bukayo Saka. Saka doesn't make those moves, and I really miss that on him. I would like to see Saka drifting centrally, drifting to the left, then back to the right, because every time he keeps himself on that line, he finds himself knocked a lot. I believe that Saka is predictable. To me, I believe he's predictable, and what is going to take that unpredictability from him is him to try to replicate what Martinelli and Trossard are doing. We need to see him leading the line, play off the left, because he has always been playing there. That is something else that Mikel Arteta needs to go all out and inject into the minds of Saka, because Saka is a very good player, but he's being one-sided, and playing off that side is not helping his game. We've seen the likes of Messi. You get? They started while playing that side, but they went ahead to up their game and started to play centrally and wide left, wide right. So he needs to be everywhere the pitch. I want to see Arsenal having a roving front three. You get? Martinelli switches to the right, Saka comes in the center, then Trossard comes to the center, Saka switches on the left, Odegaard switches to the left, then Saka comes in the middle. When you're having a roving three, you are really hard team to beat, because you can't get out a player. You can't single point out a player to really mark out. That's why you saw to it that nowadays it's easy to stop City. Get Rodri out, Kevin De Bruyne out, City's done. But it wasn't the case when they're having Jesus, Sterling, Zinchenko, and Cancelo. You get? Jesus, Sterling, Phil Foden or Mahrez, they are playing as a mobile three. They could rove around the final third of the opponent in any position because they are confident on the ball. So, as it stands at Arsenal, I would call in for that to continue, but that Trossard Martinelli understanding is really out of this world. It's one of those that we can talk on about until kingdom come. Then Arteta had to say about Zinchenko and Saka link up for the first goal. He said you have to produce those magic moments, and as you said, take that initiative and have the mentality that I'm going to do it on the pitch. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it. Now, I've seen people, especially Arsenal fans, hailing Saka a lot. Yeah, he did his job. And what else did you expect him to do after being released and he was facing the goalkeeper only, without no pressure? That goal he scores, the man who deserves credit is Zinchenko. I know people don't respect people who do assists, but Zinchenko, who was supposed to be playing sorry about that. Zinchenko, who is playing as a left back, found himself in a position of a right back where Ben White's supposed to be playing, and that's where he makes that assist for Saka. That assist is a line breaking. That pocket of space being found by Zinchenko is not a pocket of space that anyone can find anyhowly. It's not done by a player who is unusual, by a usual player. It's done by a player who is really unusual, and he showed us his other part of the game and released him very well. But kudos to the execution of Bukayo Saka, but that line-breaking pass. It was just line splitting. It found Bukayo Saka, and Saka hit the ball into the roof, and it counted 1-0 for Arsenal. He broke the dreadlock that Everton had impacted onto the game. Now, lastly, it's all about this big question. Elephant back on the tree with 5 points. The league, on whether Arsenal are favorites to win the league. Arteta said, you know my answer there. What I like is that everybody has the enthusiasm to do it, and we are not going to stop that. We have to promote that, but the way to promote that is by looking at the game. That's what he said. Then he added, and understanding that we have to do a lot of things better, especially in the first half. We can play better and make sure we prepare really well against Bournemouth, because that's going to be a tough game. To me, it's Erik ten Hag and Mikel Arteta that have seen non-focus on the game that they've not yet played. Now, after getting the game of Everton out of the way, he's talking about Bournemouth. But he knows that they are leading the table. The pressure is really high on the players, but God has blessed them that they have a Jorginho in that midfield. Not only in the midfield, but he was a very good addition in the dressing room. Arsenal fans never understood Jorginho coming in through. They said he's not being played at Chelsea. He's bad. He's really dipping in form. He has lost out. And you are bringing us another Chelsea flop like David Luiz and Willian. And I had to tell them that you don't know what you're talking about. Class is permanent and form is temporary. Look at the class of Jorginho and how he's really turning around things at Arsenal. You know, even if Partey is injured, Arsenal fans won't worry. They will say, all right, we're having Jorginho. You get? And you're having Thomas Partey in the mix. You are having Xhaka, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko. Experience is really mounting at Arsenal. And in such moments, it's experience that takes you to the next level, that helps you break the hurdles that have always stopped you from really going to where you're supposed to be. Zinchenko was so much vocal when he came into Arsenal. He told them, we are not playing for Champions League positions. We are playing to win the trophy. The same applies to Gabriel Jesus, because they knew that last season Arsenal had 62 points at the end of the season, and they are just 28 points less to be in the title conversation, because Man City won the trophy with 95, and I think 94. They won the trophy with 94 points. So if you can average 90 points a season, that means you can legitimately put yourself into the title race. Now, as we are bending into the month, I think it's not yet. We are not yet into that bend of the final part of the season, because we are left with 13 games to play, especially Arsenal and Man City. That means 7 games played next, then we'll bend into that final corner of the season. But I think we are into the second last corner of the season. That's why we are bending towards. And as we bend towards it, I believe lots of things are really going to be happening for Arsenal, because this trophy looks like it has the name Arsenal already written on it. So Mikel Arteta knows it, that they just have to win their games. And to send a statement that you're a trophy-winning team after losing to City, winning the next games was crucial, and they've gone ahead to win 3 consecutively. Now, they are hosting Bournemouth at Emirates. I think it's another team they are going to beat on Saturday, and obviously find themselves in a position of really stretching again ahead of City, because City and Newcastle, tricky game, and I cannot come here and guarantee you that City are really going to win that game of football. It's not going to be an easy one, but it will depend on the availability of Bruno Guimaraes. If at all Bruno Guimaraes is available, then it's going to be a hard one for City. So guys, your thoughts onto the Trossard Martinelli magic approved by Mikel Arteta, and then the link up of Zinchenko and Saka, then the trophy favoritism for Arsenal. Arteta trying to really give his view about them. Thank you guys for watching it through. I sign out for now. See you later. May the Lord bless you abundantly. First video of the day. We are left with more 4 videos, and I promise you that they are on the way loading. Bye-bye.